Today, we're going to be making a very simple project, and we're going to be using this piece of pine I've had left over. It was a cut off from something. Can't remember what it is, but it's got some nice rough edges here that I want to take advantage of. This project is relatively low cost. It's easy to build, and it's not going to take very long. So let's get into it. So this board is about 5 3/4 inches this way, and we're just under 48 inches long. We're going to use about 18 inches of this to start the project. And essentially, this project is going to be something that you can hang keys on, but also can hold all those bills and whatnot that come in the mail that you may not want to open in the envelope right away. Okay, first step is I've got this marked out to 18 inches. We're going to cut this right here. See all that amazing dust collection back here? It's my wall that collects it all for me. It's perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this piece clamped down to my bench. This way we got a little bit of strength. And I've got a nice sharp chisel here. We're just going to get some of the excess off, just like this. Okay, so I've got the edges done real rough with this chisel. These chisels are amazing. But I don't want to lose all of the character that's here. So I'm going to keep it as is. And when we get to the point of sanding, we're just going to sand this very lightly just to make some of it pop. Same with the edges here. I've left them rough because that's the look that I want. Same on this side. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to sand these ones afterward also. And then this is going to be the side facing the wall. All right, so now we've got the backer board for our project pretty much where we want it to be. We are going to have to do something fancy with it afterwards with the router. But next, before that, we're going to take the cut off piece of pine that we had, and I'm going to get this ripped down into some strips that are about 3/8 or half an inch thick, roughly. And they're going to be by about 1 inch thick here. And that's what we're going to be using to make a pocket for holding these letters. All right, we're going to get them ripped down. And if you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go check out the video on making an adjustable push stick, because that's what we're going to be using to get these ripped down. For the base of the letter holder, we're going to go 1.5 inches wide. So we're going to rip one of those pieces next. All right, so let me give you an overview of the measurements here. So we've got these two pieces at 1/2 inch thick. We've got this piece at 1.5 inches by about 1 inch thick. That's fine. I'm not going to rip it down any further. This is going to be our finished piece. We're going to keep this edge right along the top because I personally think it looks cool. It's got a real rustic look to it. So what we're going to be doing is taking these, we're going to put 1, 2, 3. And the way that we're going to space them is we're going to go on center, 1.5 inches in from the edge, then to the next one, 3 inch on center, to the next one, 3 inch on center. The piece at the end that is going to hold our letters is going to go across like this for the bottom. And then it's going to have a piece up here and a piece up here. And we're going to go about 8 inches wide. So we're 1/2 inch from the edge. So that way, it's not going to be incredibly deep, but you can get a letter and a letter side by side. So that's what we're going to do for this part. So next, we're going to get 2 8-inch pieces cut out of this. And with this piece here, we're going to cut this one at 7 inches in length, because these pieces here are going to go over and down and kind of cap the ends of this, because this is going to be standing like this as the bottom. Don't worry, you'll see. Have you subscribed yet? If not, why not? It's completely free, doesn't cost you a thing, and you're going to get to see all kinds of cool videos that are going to be coming out of this shop. All right, so now that we've got these pieces cut and the base is going to stick out 1.5 inches. These are going to be coming out roughly the same distance. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of these pieces here and we're going to cut a bunch of pieces at 1.5 inches in order to bring these out like that. Okay, I actually had just a bit of redesign and I had a better idea come up as I'm going kind of through this project. Because I want the base on this to be kind of encapsulated by this so nothing slides out the bottom, I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to rip this piece down 1/2 inch so that way it's going to sit inside and kind of create a lip like that. And this being thinner is no big deal because it's not going to have a lot of weight. So let's go get this ripped down to 1/2 inch. All right, so we got our piece cut out on the bandsaw here. We are sitting at 1/2 inch, which is nice. To clean this up, I simply pressed it on this belt sander here and it worked amazingly well, but you can use a disc sander or something like that too. So this is going to be going here. There's going to be an edge on it. And because we're sitting at 1.5 inches, we're going to cut 2, 4, 6 pieces at 1.5 inches out of our stock right here. All right, so we got our compressor all warmed up. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to glue 3 of these pieces just like this. And we're going to add some 1-inch brads, 1 and 1, to hold that in place. And then we're going to get back to this. All right, once we got these glued, now we're going to go ahead and glue this piece right into this one right here. And we're just going to add a few dabs of glue. This is not holding a lot of weight. All right, now before we can go any further and attach any of our pieces, what we need to do is we need to put some holes on the back so we can mount this thing to the wall. So we're going to use one of these, I can't remember exactly what they're called. We're going to use one of these T-bits that'll essentially create a slot in the back. So that way you can put a screw into the wall, you pop this thing on, you slide it down, and it's locked in place. So I've got our holes, the slot's cut in the back side, which means good to go in terms of putting the rest of this together because now we don't need to do anything on the back anymore. Now, before we do that, we're going to hit this with a little bit of light sandpaper just to smooth it out because once we start putting our stuff on there, it's going to get a little bit difficult. So let's do that first. All right, so now we're all sanded up, actually to 220. Instead of using the orbital sander, decided to use just a little bit by hand because I'm still going for a rustic finish here. So just wanted to take off some of the sharp edges. So that is done. This is our top, and that's where the slots are lining up on the back. So now what we're going to be doing is putting a piece here, and we're just going to glue our pieces on for now. Now, remember I said at the beginning, square edge, really important because in order to make sure these letter holders are straight, we're going to be taking our square and pushing it right on that end to make sure that we get it glued square in place. So let's get these glued on. So one thing you may have noticed is I actually used my square here as a spacer in between like that to make sure my spacing is exactly even. 1/2 inch from each edge. We'll get the pencil marks off afterwards. And because there's not a lot of weight here, I'm just going to glue this and leave it like that. Maybe I'll put a nail in it from the backside. But to be honest, I don't think we're going to need it. So we're going to let this dry. And then we're going to start attaching these pieces to it. Okay, so now that we've got our piece dry on this side, and I did put some 1.5-inch brads in the back side just to really hold it in place. Now we got to mount these. Now, if you're not sure as to how you might mount something like this, Well, you might actually notice that these are actually towel hooks or rope hooks for a bathroom. And they've got a little bracket here that slides in the back and wedges. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be screwing these brackets to our backer board here and then sliding these on once our piece is finished, and that's going to hold this snug in place. So we're going to get our drill out with a really small drill bit, and we're going to drill some pilot holes for these little tiny 1/2-inch Robertson screws because we don't want it splitting the pine. It is pine. It has a habit of doing that. So let's get this done. Now I've got my holes here, or my centers. So I'm about 3 inches, because I'm about a 6-inch piece, 1.5 inches in, and then 3 inches, 3 inches. That's the spacing. And these are going to be on center. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to use this to line up our pieces. Now, the other cool part is these have a vertical line in them. So what that means we can do is we're going to go like this, and we're going to draw a line exactly where these are going to be on center. All right, so we've got our pieces mounted on here, our brackets, which is awesome. Here's the nice part about these. So we're going to sand this up. We're going to put our finish on. And then when we're done, all we have to do is slide these down. If you have not used a card scraper like this, these ones have my my name on them. These are amazing with basically different grits at each end. And if you want to make something, let's say, a little bit more rustic when it's finished, well, then you can get the heavier edge, run along like this, and you can scrape it. And it's actually going to cause all of these scrape marks. Normally on this, I'd put on like an oil finish, but I don't like how it does on pine, so we're going to use some of this satin finish poly spray, and we're just going to give this a light coat because it's indoor. Make sure to mask up. We went a bit heavy on it, but this stuff is quick dry, and I actually love how it looks when you do it a little bit heavy. So give that some time. We'll come back to it. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this project build. It's an easy one. The only cost I had on this was these 3 pieces here, which actually came into my bathroom before. So it is definitely low cost, easy finish, nice, easy cuts. You can do all of this by hand or with circular saws, jig saws. You can use all of those simple, basic tools for it. So as far as how much something like this could sell for, I haven't found this specifically online, but I'm willing to bet that you could get an easy 50, maybe 60 or 70 bucks for something like this, especially with buying the hardware for it too. So super cool project. Hope you enjoy building it. Hey, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so that we can see all kinds of awesome projects and whatnot that are going to be upcoming. There's going to be stuff posted every single week. So make sure to check that stuff out. Simple stuff just like this. We'll do some complex stuff and going to do maybe some jigs and that sort of thing as well. So make sure to stay tuned. And until next time, happy cutting.